This meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
Great. Steve, do you want to go ahead then?
Yes. Hi. My name is Steve Sunshine, and welcome to this auction at Bring a Trailer for Shelby Cobra CSX 2231. And we are here with two very fine gentlemen to help us talk about this car. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, Steve. My name is Robert Bernay, and I own the Cobra that we're auctioning on Bring a Trailer.
And I'm Barry Sale, and I own PHP Race Engines in Wakanda, Illinois, and I built the engine for the Cobra.
Well, that's great. Bob, would you like to tell us a little bit about your history and what brought you to this Cobra, and what high performance cars have you had in the past as well as this Cobra?
Well, sure. I anticipated you'd want me to answer that question, so I had to take a trip down memory lane and make a list of cars that I've had over the years, and it actually surprised the heck out of me. So the first car I bought was around 1983, and it was a Lotus 27 Formula Junior. Barry, you remember that? You built the engine.
Yeah, 84.
Well, you built the engine in 84. I think I bought it in 83. But anyway, I bought it sight unseen at a Coy's auction in London. And so we also have had a Lotus 23B that was my father's. I drove that also. And let's see, a Lola T100 Formula 2, a Porsche 3-liter RSR. That was a monster. Porsche 906. That won the Targa Florio in 66. Lotus Type 76 F1 car, way too fast for me, frankly. Lola T70 Mark 3B, a GT40, and the Cobra. More in the race car category, of course, both the Cobra and the GT40.
And the T700 Lola.
Oh, that's correct. He reminded me. We had an Indian car, T700 Lola that Andretti drove. But that ran on methanol, so we really couldn't do much with that car. And we've had some really wonderful street cars as well. It's been a privilege to have. One was an Aston Martin DB5 that my father used to drive me to school in. And the same team, Barry and Tim Thatcher, that's all about it, restored that car. And it won the Amelia Award at Amelia Island in 2015. It was a 100-point car. It's a gorgeous car. Let's see, a Lamborghini Countach, a Ferrari 365 GTC4, a 2-liter Porsche 914, and a Series 1 Jaguar E-Type that I still have. We also had a Willys World War II Jeep, come to think of it, that we used to put in the 4th of July parade, the local Independence Day parade, when the kids were very young. And that was a lot of good family fun. So those are at least all the cars I can remember off the top of my head, Steve.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, if we could all have only kept all the cars that we had. I do have one question about the Aston Martin, though. When your dad dropped you off for school, did you get out of the door or did he hit the ejector seat?
That's funny. So I think you also asked me, if I'm not mistaken, why did I acquire the Cobra?
Yes.
Well, I mean, look, it's an iconic car. Even people who are not car people recognize the shape of the 289 Cobra. And I had wanted one for years, and the experience of driving it. I heard about this car. And it was, I think, largely through Bill Kemper, if I'm not mistaken, who's a real Cobra expert, one of the top Cobra experts in the world. And this car really needed to be restored. At one point, it was a barn find, I understand. And I felt the car needed that. I'm a student of history, and in particular, automotive history. And I feel that we're really caretakers of these things for the next generation. And the next owner of this car will be a caretaker for generations to come. And so I felt the car needed that. So it was a match. I wanted the car, and I think the car needed me. So
Yes.
consequently, we acquired the car, and I think the team that worked on this car, same one that did the Aston, same one that did the 40, etc., did a wonderful job.
That's great. And so, Barry, so tell me, when you got the car from Bob to work on, what did you do to it?
When we received the car, it had been a full vintage race car, and it had a 302 race engine in it. But when they converted it to a race car, they took the 289, which was a numbers matching engine, and later decide absolutely complete. We got everything. And so
Wow.
we took the 302 out and rebuilt the 289, at which time a friend of mine, who's a race car builder, called me up and said, I have these cylinder heads that have been on my shelf for 20 years, and I think it's time to get rid of them. What do you think they're worth? So I said, well, tell me about them. And he did. And I said, I don't know what they're worth, but I know who wants them. So I called Bob up and repurchased the heads. They're Di Tommaso, made for a project that Shelby and Di Tommaso were doing in common for a car that Peter Brock designed, and it's called the Di Tommaso P70. If you look it up online, it's a gorgeous car. Anyway, so we built the engine up with those cylinder heads. On the dyno, it made 403 horsepower as compared to the Hypo 289, which was 271. So it's a very lively car. Very streetable, very tractable, and runs great.
I'd also add to that, Steve, that all the original parts that we got with the car, such as the original cylinder heads, the original transmission, they all go with the car. They're all there. We put in a 5-speed Tremec because the 4-speed was a racing transmission. It's an original racing transmission, with the first gear being very tall. Doesn't really work for the street.
And the fourth very short.
Yes, that's true. And so consequently, the original stuff and many race parts that go with the car. So this goes right down to original nuts and bolts that had been saved by owner after owner over the years, including the original soft top on the car.
That's incredible. That really is incredible. I think for all of you looking at this car on Bring a Trailer, and again, if I didn't say it before, please excuse my voice. I am not a Kennedy, but I do have a similar infliction that causes me to sound like I sound. Maybe I siphoned a little too much gas when I was a kid. I'm not sure. But anyway, back to the car. Some of the parts that come with this car, like the original Cobra-leaded bell housing, are just incredible. And the good news is that, as Bob can tell you, that this is a drivable car that runs on pump gas, that you could take out to dinner. You could do whatever you want with it. You could take it on long drives. And it's not too noisy, like most hot rod Cobras are, that you can really just enjoy this car, as opposed to you get in it for 10 minutes and you can't take it anymore. The other thing is, if you do want to go racing with this car, you can do that as well. Plus, the benefit of having a car with all of it, basically all of its original parts to go back on it, if you ever decided at any period in time that you wanted to bring this car back to its original configuration, you can do that. But I have some very important news about this car that, as most of you read the registry, I took it a step further, and I even surprised the two guys in this video. So here's what happened. I looked up the original owner, and as with many Cobras, the original owner usually has passed on, that has had these cars from day one. Well, this owner is 85 and still alive. And I spoke to him. Very lucid, very active. He actually drives a Monster Miata at 85 years old, current. And what he told me, when I asked him about the registry, he was very upset. He's not computer literate, so he doesn't email and he doesn't text people or anything. So, but he said to me, he said, Steve, do you know where it said that the car had an accident when it had 20 miles on it? He said, it's not true. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, it did have an accident, but it wasn't a driving accident. The car rolled off a trailer at the dealership and side swiped a tree. That was the accident. And he said, most of all, it had 27 miles on it, not 20. So that's somebody who really knows this car and has a very fond memory. So he bought the car from the dealer in Texas. He picked it up for a few $1,000s because it was damaged, and rightfully so. And he brought it to an expert aluminum worker. And that guy took the original fender and repaired it. There is no replacement bodywork on this car. That's very important for historic purposes, as you all know. Now, what he did was, when the work was finished and the repaired fender was bare, and he handed him a bill for $280, that was all the money this guy had. So when it came to painting the fender, he didn't have the money and he didn't know what to do. So he took the car home and he started just looking up different historic. Now, when you say historic, in 1964, the only thing historic backwards in a Cobra was 2 years. So it wasn't very historic back then. But what he found was a picture, a publicity picture from the very first Cobra that Carroll brought to the United States. Now, all of you know the story of CSX 2000 because that car was delivered in bare aluminum, and then Carroll painted it several different colors to make people think he had a lot of cars when he only had the one when he was trying to sell cars. And this was the picture that he found of the car in bare aluminum of CSX 2000. And he said, that's a good idea because since I can't afford to paint the car, he took a can of Easy Off oven cleaner. He stripped the car down to complete bare aluminum and he drove it for years as an everyday car. He drove it from Indiana to Watkins Glen to Canada. He got caught in a Chicago blizzard in 1965 with the car, and he froze and the car got wet, and he did what he had to do, but that was his only car. He had a great time with it. He has very fond memories of that car. And interestingly enough, one of its subsequent owners was Chris McAllister, who a lot of you may have heard of. Chris is a very experienced, potent race car driver, races a lot of important cars, collects some of the world's most incredible cars, including Ferrari GTO, all kinds of cars. Anyway, when Chris bought this car, he bought this car in 1978 when he graduated college. I graduated college in 1977. And you know something? I would have loved to have a Cobra as my first car out of college. It was a little out of my price range at the time. So, but Chris, he had the wherewithal. But when he bought the car, he pulled it out of a barn in 1978. And there are pictures of that event when he bought that car on this Bring a Trailer list of pictures and photos and documents. So you'll see those pictures as well with Chris McAllister in the car. And he had very fond memories of rebuilding the engine and doing some touring with it. And at that time, the car was very original at that very time. And the only thing different that it had on it from new in 1978 was the hood scoop. That's it. So Chris had the car. We have documentation from the first owner, from subsequent owners, and all kinds of things. So what you really have here, again, is a turnkey car that you can use today, drive it, enjoy it. Because let me tell you something, from 45 years of experience in working on cars, the day you turn this car into an untouchable, delivered as new show car, you'll never drive it. So I would say enjoy it the way it is. Get a couple of rock chips, have some fun. This is a wonderful car to enjoy. You have all the power and then some, and have a great time with it. So what do you think? Guys, do you have anything to add?
I think you've said it all.
Well, I can add one thing. You mentioned
Okay.
something about going out to dinner in the car.
Yes.
My wife and I have done that. So it's very streetable in that regard, but very quick.
Well, I could tell you that I had a 427 full competition car, and I tried to take my wife out for a ride, and it only had the racing windscreen for me, open pipes, full bore 427. So she was wearing earplugs and goggles because there was no windscreen for her. When I hit 7,000 RPMs, she went into shock. I took her home, and that was the last time she ever got into a Cobra. This is not that. This, at least your wife will get in and potentially enjoy the ride.
Yeah. One thing I might add as well is that when Chris converted this to a race car, he took everything street-wise out of it, and we got the original seats, which are just as they are in the car today. They just need a little weather cleaning. They're absolutely perfect.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I think we've said it all, and I think any of you that have questions, please put them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer anything you have. If we didn't cover anything, we'll be more than happy to answer it. And good luck. Very good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
Very nice to meet you.
Okay, good.